In the year 1997, the future is in chaos and turmoil. Mankind is on the brink of extinction. Brave survivors band together and build a time displacement apparatus to receive a signal from a parallel future. This transmission is the Wundercast.
There's one team that kicks ass. They're assembled. They're the Wundercast. Never back down from the brass. Always start first. Never finish last. Had a mock speed. Bit too fast. Oh no, they're out of gas. It's okay there. Just a podcast. They're the greatest. We're the Wundercast.
Welcome to the Wundercast, the official podcast of Wunderblog.com, the home of some intermittent AEW talk. I am your host, Steven, and with me today is the non-binary champion of the Wundercast, D-Rock.
D-Rock, up in the house. What's up? What the fuck was that? I don't talk like that. What the hell's happening?
Yes, you're up in the house. You're on the roof. You're on the roof of the house.
I always do that whenever we're introducing. I'm like, that's not at all. What am I doing? And just words are coming out, and they're not at all in my personality whatsoever.
It's alright.
Anyway, it's me.
It's alright, dog.
It's me.
So we are post-Thanksgiving.
Yes.
We're at the beginnings of the holiday season, and one of the bright spots of 2020 has been being able consistently on Wednesday to look forward to some new happenings from Wednesday night Dynamite,
Yeah.
AEW.
Yeah, it's good. It's been good to, I remember when, for I guess it was like for a couple of weeks that they did they ever stop altogether? I don't know. If
No,
they
didn't.
did.
They never took a break.
They just did it without the audiences, but.
We went to a live show.
Yeah, in January.
In January at UM.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Bash at the beach. It was cool.
We got to see Diamond Dallas Page in the ring.
Yeah, he did a top rope fucking spot. It was great.
We got to see Kenny Omega live. We got to see everybody live. I think the Young Bucks had a match, if memory serves me right.
I think so. Yeah, I think there was one of those big 4-man tag team matches, 4-on-4 to start the show.
So, a great time was had by all. So we've been supporters of AEW.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite masks to wear during the pandemic is my Kenny Omega mask, which I'm kind of pissed off that they don't nobody comes out with their mask anymore.
Oh yeah.
There was 2 weeks where people were coming out with their COVID masks on.
Yeah,
to
they
sell
do with their
COVID
shirts
masks.
to sell them. Yeah, to sell them.
And I think they should keep it going.
Right? Yeah.
You have some of the people in the audience wearing masks,
Yeah, some.
like they're wrestlers and stuff like that.
Emphasis on some. Yeah, well, the people that are there's certain people that like everybody around the ringside area is AEW payroll people, but
Some are showing full face.
So some of them are not masked, and so I have to assume, just for my own sanity, that they are being tested.
Well, yes. Apparently, AEW has very strict testing protocols.
So
and they're tested daily.
But then why
on the day
are some of the people wearing masks? None of them should need them. So
I think they're just trying to sell the merch.
Maybe to sell them. Yeah, maybe that's how they sell.
I think that they should walk out with the mask. I think that would be a good sign. And then I noticed too, they had last night was the big Tyson return to boxing match.
Oh yeah, I heard
and the
that.
ref was wearing a mask in that fight, and I'm like, why doesn't the ref wear a mask in AEW?
Yeah.
That would make sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah, because the refs in football wear masks. which I kind of don't understand. Like, if it's supposedly safe for the players to all be down there without masks on, why do the refs need to like? Well, there's no logic in any of it.
We expect a different level of athletic ability from a player to a ref.
Right.
Of exertion on the field, which may or may not be there. There may actually be more from the ref. We don't know. Yeah,
I mean, those guys are in shape too. They have to be. They have to be a little bit in shape.
But in wrestling, not really.
No. Basketball refs have to be really in shape. They're the most, because they're running back and forth just as much as the players.
Since we're on the subject of refs, and this will never come up again, there's this show on HBO Max called How To with John Wilson, which I just finished watching the whole season of, which is genius.
Oh, yeah?
That it's a documentary-style show where this very neurotic guy named John Wilson is basically, like, filming all the stuff that he sees going around New York.
Oh, yeah.
And then he always starts off with, like, an innocuous topic that he's going after, like how to, like, put plastic wrap on a couch, how to protect a couch. And then the episode, because he's in New York, turns into, like, somebody who's an advocate for foreskin trying to sell him a product that will regrow his foreskin and then, like, pulling out his penis and, like, showing him how to use it. And it's crazy. And he did this episode where the title of the episode is How to Split a Check. And he's talking about how people don't know how to split checks properly and, it's nobody knows how to do it right. So he goes to a dinner for referees. For this referee association in New York for soccer referees. And the referees are just bitching that the association doesn't do shit for them and that they don't get paid. Oh, wow. And the association's just like, you gotta get paid up front or else it's not on us to get paid. Okay, you just gotta pay your fees. And there's people, like, just, like, stealing food from the buffet and, like, putting it in Tupperware to take home and, like, stealing cans of Coke.
Oh, my God.
And it's just, like, chaos. And then the coup de grace is, like, the guy in charge. One of the guys in charge wins one of the TVs that they were raffling, so everyone's pissed off. And then the guy who was in charge, who was, like, chastising everybody, wins or is honored with a golden whistle.
Wow.
And in, like, 30 seconds, his golden whistle is stolen and disappears from the face of the earth. It is the funniest bit of television in the world.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
To just see all these random referees just begrudging and just being as petty as possible. Oh my God.
That sounds amazing.
They have to be berated to clean up after themselves. They're like, we're not going to announce who won this TV until you all clean up your mess. Like they're 4-year-olds.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
That's beautiful.
It's a great show, and it ends with coronavirus starting.
Oh, wow.
So it kind of like adds, he somehow manages to tie coronavirus into all the random things that he talked about. So yeah. It's very interesting.
I just had I need to, like, catch up on This Is Us. Just the new season of This Is Us just started. The first episode is a 2-parter where the characters in the show now are experiencing both coronavirus and Jacob Blake in one episode. I was like, why are you trying to make me relive 2020 This Is Us? This is so mean.
It's hardcore.
Yeah.
So, AEW 2020, they hadn't even had a full year on television.
Yeah.
When the pandemic started. They've now spent more time during, like, the pandemic than they had.
Yeah, right.
Off the pandemic. They had more empty shows.
They had more empty shows than, yeah.
Actual shows.
Which is crazy because one of the most exciting things about AEW has always been the crowds have been super stoked on every show. Like, the crowds go crazy for everything that they do because there's so much fan service in AEW. That's kind of like a big part of it.
And AEW built their reputation on the fact, or at least they hang their hat on the fact that they can draw a crowd, a competitive crowd, to a WWE-like event. And so to have that arrow out of their quiver and have to stand on the merits of the
ratings,
storytelling alone, mostly, has been a very daunting challenge.
The storytelling has gotten so much better.
They had some clunkers in the beginning of the year. I think the Stadium Stampede was fun.
Yeah.
But ultimately it wasn't good wrestling.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't actually see that one. But I've heard mixed things about it. Most people said it was like really fun. But it seems like there was, I mean, AEW for a while there was a lot of stuff that I couldn't actually say was bad necessarily, but I just could tell wasn't for me. Like the constant like spot fests and like for the first several months of Dynamite, AEW to me just felt like they were just doing the most all the time. And it was like, you know, you have to like moderate these things, guys. You can't just have fucking thumbtacks at 8:47 at night all the time. Like it's just too much.
Commercial breaks
it
where
becomes numbing to
the
people.
picture-in-picture is somebody with like their face just dripping blood.
I know, right? Yeah, exactly.
Pouring out of their face. It's a little disconcerting.
Yeah, it was just so much, and I feel like they're starting to do a little bit better job of knowing how to like pace themselves, especially like over the course of a show. Pacing out a show, having little segments in between things instead of everything just being wall-to-wall wrestling.
I still think some of the... Like, I wish that they when they did a squash match, they just did a squash match.
Yeah.
Like, they give these, like, 10-minute, 15-minute matches when it doesn't really serve your goal.
Exactly, right. Like, there's certain situations where one of these people or one of these teams should be a lot better than the other. Otherwise, you know, you talk about how you want more of a sports presentation, you're giving people records and all of this stuff, and you're paying attention to wins and losses, but in real sports, sometimes there's blowouts. Mm-hmm. Not every match is a fucking like match of the year candidate. You know what I mean?
And then also too, it would make like the beginning of the shows like a little more interesting to me. Because like usually I know like the first 8 minutes of Dynamite is just gonna be solid wrestling.
Yeah.
So if I tune in late, I know I didn't miss anybody talking or anything like that.
You didn't miss any storytelling.
Like, they never really mess with that format so far, where it just opens up.
Which is a direct contrast with WWE, who almost always opens with a talking segment of some kind. Like a 20 or 30 minute one usually, which is overkill, obviously. But they always open with moving stories ahead. And I think there's something to like they've been doing that since the Attitude Era when the stories were actually interesting, and it worked. You know, people wanted to tune in for that. That was all I cared about when I was watching it as a kid. I just wanted to see what Stone Cold was going to say. You know,
you just wanted to see the first like 12 minutes and like the last 12 minutes.
Right, exactly. That's when everything happens, and then everything in between, especially in the Attitude Era, man. There's so many like jobbers and mid carders that like no one would ever care about again from that era. But yeah, nothing else was really like that noteworthy usually. Sometimes, like, you know, there would be the occasional episode, like the one where Mankind wins the title, where that story just was told throughout the episode in these little segments and was so well done. That was one of the best, like, long-form storytelling within one episode of wrestling that I've ever seen. Was that with like Shawn Michaels getting fired by Mr. McMahon, and then Sweet Chin musicking him the week before, and then he comes out with DX, And, you know, DX turns on him, and he gets beat up by the corporation, and he was supposed to go get a Stone Cold surprise, but he never gets into the car. But Stone Cold shows up anyway at the end, and the crowd goes crazy, and he hits The Rock with the chair, and Mankind wins, and everybody's happy.
Nothing AEW does has come close to that.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, they haven't. I mean, they've done some good stuff over the last month or two. The whole angle between Moxley and Eddie Kingston was those two guys are like probably the two best they have on the mic, and their whole story was so well done, so compelling.
I feel bad for Moxley because it feels like this year he's had a lot of like, okay, he tested positive for COVID. We have to change the plans with him.
Yeah.
Okay, Lance Archer tested positive for COVID. We have to change plans with Moxley and Archer.
Right.
Like there's just been a lot of like chaos.
Moxley
with booking the main title.
Moxley, though, honestly, is probably the best babyface champion there's been in a really long time. Like, I can't remember liking a babyface champion this much in a really long time.
Well, that's high praise.
Yeah. Maybe like Johnny Gargano.
What
but
about
like
Daniel
very
Bryan?
briefly. Huh?
Well, Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan, yeah. He's a I mean I'm not saying like top, like number one.
Okay.
But like, well, I guess that's what I did say. But no, like definitely among those names for sure. He's just so great on the mic. Every time he cuts a promo, one of those little pre-recorded promos, you just know it's like it's almost getting boring at this point how good every one of those promos is, you know.
They've debuted a lot of new talent this year for the company. They debuted Brody Lee. They debuted Matt Hardy, technically.
Matt Sydal, who had quite an inauspicious...
and he had a great entrance. What are you talking about? That's the way to go in.
That's the way to do it.
If
Yeah, everybody will remember that.
If you're starting a Three Stooges gimmick, it's perfect.
Top Flight just recently had an awesome debut. Had a great match with the Young Bucks.
They debuted Matt Cordova, and he hasn't done anything.
Right, like, yeah, he still hasn't, like, we were talking about that, like, how many weeks ago was it we were talking about that? Where the fuck is Matt Cordova? He still hasn't done anything.
So, hopefully he comes back.
I hope so, yeah. They could do a lot with him.
I just wish that he was there for, like, the in-between guys to have, like, somebody experienced to help map out matches with.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, like, when you get to a match where it's, like, the Dark Order versus, like, Private Party, like, their matches are a little slop-a-doo.
Yeah, it's a little bit, you know, yeah. There are a lot of guys in AEW that don't have quite as sophisticated an understanding of how to map out matches as some of the veteran guys do. They don't really get pacing and building slowly to things. A lot of it feels very like this spot, and then we connect that somehow to this spot, and then we connect that somehow to this finish, and that's the match. As opposed to like each thing leading to the next, which is kind of more the way it's supposed to be, I feel, at least.
What do you think has been the top storyline for you this year?
I think, yeah, probably my favorite storyline has been the Moxley Kingston storyline has been really great. Like I was saying, both guys are just so great on the mic. I'm trying to think of other ones. I mean, the feud between Matt Hardy and Chris Jericho was pretty top notch with all the crazy, hilarious segments that they produced. I've been really enjoying the every interaction we've gotten between Jericho and MJF has been pure gold, especially. Oh, what's the name of the song that they did together? It's got a name.
My Shadow.
My Shadow, yeah. That was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. It was so good. But all their interactions are so good. Their whole thing. Did you see the Vegas thing?
I saw they had the first 2 parts of it online. I saw that.
Oh my god, it was hilarious. It was so good.
I liked the FTR debut. I think
Yeah.
ultimately worked out well. I just don't feel like it got the full payoff that I was, waiting
Right.
for. But that storyline's still ongoing.
Yeah, it's kind of stalled now because they were where they left it off was setting up a rubber match, right,
Mm-hmm.
between Cody and Brody Lee, and now they couldn't do that.
I'm talking about FTR.
Oh, FTR. Oh, fuck. What was
Yeah.
I?
But yes, also
really high.
Cody
Sorry.
versus Brody Lee was a fantastic feud.
Yeah.
And Cody's been great all year. He's always been very entertaining. I'm very worried about this current feud he's trying to start with Shaq.
Yeah.
It
that
did
is
not start on
concerning.
great footing.
Well, have they even done anything? They just said that Shaq is gonna appear, right?
So they debuted Jade Cargill, who I heard her on the AEW Unrestricted podcast,
Right.
and she's a bodybuilder
Oh, cool.
who's recently been a wrestler and has come through the Nightmare Factory. But she doesn't have a great deal of experience.
Right.
But they're clearly setting her up to have a bunch of matches with
Brandy.
Brandy to help be a heater for the storyline with Shaq, I guess.
Right.
It's just weird that
Yeah.
this person that we've never seen with Shaquille O'Neal
Right.
is now his representative without him even having a video
Right.
or a photo of them together or just anything at all.
Yeah, we haven't had any direct communication coming on this from Shaq himself.
We've seen more of Mike Tyson in AEW than we have
Yeah.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Right.
Which is also a plot that we have no idea if it's ever going to go anywhere or not.
Right, is that, yeah.
Or if that was just one night
Yeah.
of fun.
Yeah, that was weird.
Which I don't even think Jericho is the right person to take Tyson, but okay.
Right.
Sure, I guess.
Yeah.
Just he doesn't need it,
Right, yeah, exactly.
He doesn't need to fight Tyson, too. I wish the Kenny Omega and Hangman stuff had been handled in a more, I don't know, less, dorky way. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just feels very, non-dramatic.
Yeah, I kind of get that. I mean, my biggest thing is, the whole premise is that Kenny Omega is mad at Adam Page for them losing a match that was Omega's fault. He is the reason. He's the one that kneed fucking Adam Page in the face and made him lose the match. But he's all mad at him because he has a drinking problem or whatever. But I really like Page with Dark Order. That they've been having some really fun interactions, I think. And
You think that's gonna actually turn into?
I like the idea of him kind of turning to them, and I like the fact that the commentators even brought up he doesn't have a drink in his hand. He hasn't had a drink in his hand since he started, fraternizing with the Dark Order, which is interesting. So I'm interested to see where that goes.
It will be more interesting if it's not just his plain sobriety, but his brainwashing.
Yeah, right.
I guess. But they haven't really done anything with the Dark Order brainwashing. Colt Cabana isn't a heel, even though he's in the Dark Order. He doesn't act heelish.
They haven't really
he
progressed
hasn't
that
changed
storyline at all. It's just that they just do the same thing every time, where they're kind of abusive to him, and he seems to be okay with it, and that's just sort of the dynamic, and they don't really progress it beyond that.
And also, so we have the tournament now, which Kenny Omega just won to become the number one contender.
Mm-hmm.
Which was a pretty good tournament.
It was good, and I really liked and it's interesting. I've been kind of critical of AEW for like their matches are very. It's a very indie style, very like endurance test, like mile a minute spot fest. A little low on selling sometimes, a little low on storytelling sometimes. Which is kind of how their match at Full Gear was, but I was actually really into it. I think part of it was just that it was really paced really well. I felt like so I can get down with a match like that if it's paced really well, if it builds tension like slowly over time and things lead into the next thing instead of just being kind of scattershot.
My hope is we have coming up what they're dubbing Winter Is Coming, their first show of December.
Right.
Is that this title...
In Jacksonville.
Yeah. That this title match between Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley, like, we're going to get the Kenny Omega match. Kenny Omega from Japan. We're going to get, like, a 42 minutes to an hour of, like...
That would be
fantastic wrestling.
Except, like... We only have 2 hours with plus commercials, so like
that's what I'm saying. If we can get a 40 minute match,
yeah, but if they could go like 30 minutes on at the end of Dynamite, and that would be that. Yeah, I mean, I would love to. I think they've kind of been slowly building up to him, kind of taking on the cleaner persona again, and I hope that. It's building to this that he like at this week on Dynamite he'll like show up full cleaner and like and I'm also really interested in like there was that so a couple weeks ago there was that thing where they caught up with him in the parking lot and he was on the phone with somebody and we didn't know who he was on the phone with. He was like, "Oh, it was good to see you," or something like that. And then I think it was the week after was probably the attack. And so we're thinking like
he ordered something.
Who attacked? Yeah, is it the person that he was on the phone with that attacked Moxley? Is it him? Is it unrelated to this? Is it Eddie Kingston is a suspect apparently, according to kayfabe or whatever.
Eddie Kingston is a suspect.
They were saying like there's suspicion. They've been talking about it on the show. They've been talking about suspicion that Eddie Kingston might have been the one, from leftover from their, the I Quit match and everything. So I'm really interested to see how they deal with that. And my hunch is that we're gonna have it revealed who it was. And they're probably going to cost Moxley the title. That's what I think is going to happen.
So, Jon Moxley originally, in his debut, he...
attacked Kenny Omega.
He attacked Kenny Omega after Omega beat Jericho.
Yeah, and they had a match.
So, it would not be...
Which is a street fight, I think. And that's another thing that they were doing. Kenny Omega came and did that promo about... the first... Yes, you beat me. I'm a man. I can admit that. But you beat me in a fucking street fight. Why don't you beat me in a fucking wrestling match? If you're the best... And everybody's talking about Moxley being the best wrestler in the world now. And he's the new best bout machine. So why don't you come and beat me in the middle of the ring? And I think that's setting up a really good story. That's a really... Like, they've done it before with Moxley. Where guys will be like, oh, you're so great outside the ring. Try to beat me. And they did it with MJF. Where he fucking like, no, I'm going to stay in the ring because that's where I know I can beat you and you can beat me outside the ring. So I love when they set up those little dynamics and it'd be interesting to see what they do with it in the match.
It would be crazy if they have like a long, big match and then at the end it just gets broken up by whoever this third party is that they've...
It's Shaq. He
loaded up.
He just like choke slams both of them. That'll be the most WWE thing they can do.
I want the belt!
Yeah, right.
Oh my god. What else about AEW?
Let me see what else was on this past week. Hikaru Shida and Anna There's been some really good women's matches. the match that opened Full
When they
Gear-
have wrestling matches for women in the ring,
right.
they're good matches.
Yeah.
Just not outside of the ring.
They've been doing a decent job of paying a little more attention to their women's division, which I do have to give them credit for, even though it's been a low bar so far. But they have several women's stories. The NWA women's title match that took place on the buy-in of Full Gear was excellent, even though it was, on the buy-in. But at least they had 2 women's matches on Full Gear, so that was good.
Progress.
Yeah, progress, totally. And Sheeta had a really good match with Nyla Rose at Full Gear. That was really good. She had a good match with Anna Jay this past week. So there have been a lot of good. Serena Deeb's had a good couple of matches. And now Abaddon wants to come after the title, it looks like.
That's exciting.
Which is super exciting. I'm very, very happy about
That's
that.
exciting.
Yeah.
They should have done that for Halloween.
Oh, yeah, totally.
That would have been better for me.
That would have been cool.
My beef with the women in AEW is that they've kind of gone in circles a little bit with them.
Yeah.
They had a big, tag team event on YouTube, and they were kind of, pretending like they had a women's tag team division. And
then
now
nothing else
they
after
haven't
that.
done anything with
They
that
haven't done
idea
anything.
at all. Not even a once or twice, tag match after that at all.
Yeah,
for
no,
women.
they're nothing.
And they have some interesting tag teams that
Right.
would be interesting. Also, the Bunny went from, being in the Nightmare.
Went from good to bad to good to bad,
And then, so that
with,
was strange.
barely any explanation, right?
It's up to the commentators to explain it
Right,
away.
yeah, I think she probably just got bored, I don't know.
Which is not a good way to exposit.
Yeah.
They didn't even put it on Being the Elite, which I watch Being the Elite
really?
sometimes. And they didn't even, she's not on Being the Elite. So
Oh.
they don't even cover it there.
Yeah.
And then some of the stuff on Being the Elite, when it gets into the TV show, just makes no sense, and they don't have a way to explain it.
Oh, really?
Like when Brody Lee won the championship, and they came out with 6 John Deere tractors and all this lawn mowing equipment.
Yeah.
That's because on Being the Elite, he said that he was buying everybody lawnmowers for winning things, which is just a joke, but then
Yeah.
they pay it off on the show by actually
When
putting
no one
lawn
knows
drugs,
what the hell
and
they're
nobody
talking about.
knows, nobody gets it.
Yeah.
So that's strange.
Yeah.
But John Silver has really come out this year,
Yes.
and he's used his funniness on Being the Elite and figured out how to get it onto the television show and into his matches.
Yeah.
So I think probably one of the best matches he had was that match with Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, that was
And
really
that's
good.
probably my favorite Orange Cassidy match of all the matches he's had.
Really?
I'm not a big Orange Cassidy fan,
Oh, yeah.
so
Well,
The
because you
fact-
hate the best friends so much, so it kind
I
of rubs
do.
off.
It's it's contagious
Yeah.
friendship. I guess Santana and Ortiz have been good this year. Santana and Ortiz.
Santana and Ortiz have been good. Especially these last couple. They've been really adding a lot of good stuff to the MJF Jericho dynamic with the whole inner circle thing. They've been doing some really funny stuff together. Because Santana's clearly not into this, and Ortiz. Well, I can't. I always get them confused because I'm racist.
I think Ortiz is the one with the big hair.
Yeah, and the big lips.
Well, I'm not talking about this thing.
He always makes all those funny faces.
Yeah,
Wait, you said that was Santana?
I said those
No,
Ortiz.
those are Ortiz, okay. I'm really high.
What else is on the
Yeah.
show? On the last show.
On the last show, yeah. Oh yeah, there was that Jericho and Hager had a match against SCU. That was pretty cool. I have a friend who was saying that he thinks that Kazarian's gonna turn on
SCU?
on SCU. Well, and mainly on Daniels.
For what? But for what? Just to have a
I
big feud?
think when he said that, the first thing I thought of was like he would go after him for like always being in his shadow for their whole, because they've been a tag team forever.
Yeah.
Way before Scorpio Sky joined, they were in TNA. They were a big thing. And to be able to that would be really cool to get to see them have like a showcase and be able to like have a one-on-one match would be super cool, especially the age that they both are, and they're both still so good at the age that they are. It's ridiculous.
I think that they're needed in the an FCU is needed in the tag team division.
Yeah.
Whatever happens.
There's so many tag teams though.
Because they're one of the few tag teams that actually has a tag team championship win.
Right.
So I think it's important to.
Well, I feel like, and especially because it looks like they're making Scorpio Sky a single star, so that's going to be all that's left of SCU after that. So if you want to even maintain a tag team after Scorpio Sky does his thing, it's going to have to be those two guys. They'll probably, maybe they could do it like they could feud and then like make up again, kind of thing.
You always have just Scorpio Sky and whoever decides to stay SCU.
Yeah.
In there. But who knows?
Right.
I think that's...
What else was
We've talked about Darby Allen is the new...
Darby Allen, yes.
TNT champion.
I love Darby Allen. I got to see him live a couple of times when I was living in Portland because he was with Defy Wrestling before he came to AEW, which is based out of Seattle. But they would often come down to Portland and run shows in Portland. I got to see him. I got to see Shane Strickland, also known as Killshot. I got to see Austin Aries one time. That was pretty cool. But Darby Allen was one of my favorites that I had never seen before I went to this show. And he is like legit insane. One of the things that's kind of been bothering me about him in AEW is when he first came in, when they were doing those like Road 2 segments on YouTube with all these really cool little vignettes and stuff. They had one about him where he like explained his like origin story, that he was that his uncle was basically like his dad, and he was in a car crash with his uncle and his uncle died, and ever since that accident he's felt like he was like half dead inside, and that's why he paints half of his body. And they've never referenced that again, which is so crazy to me because that's one of the coolest fucking little like origin story things I've heard in wrestling in like a while.
JR forgot about it.
Yeah, man, they should play into that more. There's little things like that like I would love to see them bring up more often. I wish they did more of those. I mean, they've actually started to. Like they've done a couple really cool Darby Allen segments, kind of like that, but just with like him like destroying stuff. He used Taz's old line in the last one. When he spray painted "Survive If I Let You" on the car. That was a Taz line back when he was in ECW. You know, I would say, "Beat me if you can, survive if I let you."
Whoa.
Yeah, Taz was a badass.
Darby Allen's gets a little silly sometimes, when you're wearing an outfit made of thumbtacks so that you can then jump on somebody.
Yeah, some of his little...
and get them with your thumbtacks.
I give him credit for taking risks. Like
he's not afraid to push the line.
Yeah, right. And sometimes that's what happens when you're a risk taker. Some things come out kind of silly, some things don't really land, but he's always trying new stuff, and I think that's pretty cool. And he's a great wrestler. Like, he's so quick and so like technically sound. He has great matches. He's had a couple great matches with Cody. Man, those two are great together.
I just don't get the logic of like coming in a car that's painted like you and then smashing that same car that looks like yourself before you get in a ring.
Well, because that was the whole thing, was like he was...
Like, the bad guy should smash your car.
He was...
like, not you yourself.
Well, he's self-destructive. Like, that's kind of part of his thing. Is like that's why he does like all the skateboarding and crazy shit. He's like he likes to fucking hurt himself and shit. That's why he wrestles, you know.
It's silly.
But also like that was part of the whole thing where he was talking about how when he won the TNT title, he would be the face of Dynamite, the face of Wednesday nights. And that no one wants that face to be the face, so, you know, kind of destroying his face maybe was, like, symbolic of that or whatever.
So also coming up this week, we have the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royale.
Oh, yeah. Matt Hardy's in that.
Matt Hardy's
did a whole
in
promo.
it. It looks like Lance Archer's in it.
Yeah.
Members of the Dark Order are in it. Matt Sydal, Scorpio Sky, Orange Cassidy. And it appears Adam Page is in it, and it looks like MJF, Wardlow, and Sammy Guevara are in it. So will the Inner Circle play a factor?
Is Hager in
the
it?
Battle Royale? They didn't put his face on the thing.
Huh. So it'll be interesting to see, like, if him and Wardlow cross paths.
But Miro and Kip are in it.
Oh no, nice.
I'm
kind of like still waiting for them to put Miro in like a prime position the way we kind of all expect. We all expected him to debut and be like one of the top guys immediately, and he's just been in this like weird team with Kip Sabian.
Yeah.
So
I
guess they're kind of holding back on him because they got a lot of other stuff going on, I guess.
It seems like Tony Khan has a formula to kind of pair indie guys with established guys.
Huh.
And
give him a little rub.
Let them get the shine. And I think once Miro gets Kip Sabian over, right, he'll be able to move up naturally.
Yeah, they'll probably have like a nice little feud and have some good matches. Miro looks great too, man. The last couple of times he's wrestled these little tag matches, he's been so good. He looks better than ever. Like there's so much pop in everything he does. He looks like he has like a new energy since he came to AEW, which makes sense. A lot of these guys do.
So yeah, I think that pretty much covers.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of
most of the roster.
How much other stuff is going on? We talked about Team Taz a little bit. We talked about.
I hope that now they have so many factions. We were saying off air that we hope that they get like a trios, at least tournament or division.
Yeah.
Because now with all these factions, you could really play it out.
Yeah, remember that was one of the things a lot of people loved most about Lucha Underground is they had that trios title, which was so different from most promotions have a tag title, but they didn't really do tag wrestling. They did trios. They did 3-on-3s.
And they already do a lot of like 3-on-3 matches and stuff.
Yeah,
they just don't have any stake for it other than the storyline.
Right. Which would be like that. Just having a trios title would make every single one of those matches mean a little bit more, just because all those teams are in the hunt for a title instead of just like putting 3 guys together because it'll be fun and it doesn't mean anything. Which they kind of do a lot. They were doing a lot. That I don't know how much they've been doing it recently. They've kind of doing. It feels like they've been doing that less recently.
Yeah.
But.
I also hope that in the future they can solidify Cody Rhodes' faction so that it makes a more coherent sense.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's a very amorphous concept of who comes out with him and who doesn't.
Yeah. And who comes to save him and
not.
Right. Like, you never know. Like you were saying the other day about the what was it, the match with Darby Allen, and the Team Taz attacked them afterwards. And even though the whole Nightmare family walked out with Cody and then walked to the back.
He came out with 6 people.
None of them came to help him.
And when he's in jeopardy, they're all asleep, apparently.
Right.
So, that's strange. At least give me a reason why they were knocked out. Like,
right,
you know what I mean? Like, give me something.
Maybe like knocked him out backstage or something like that.
Or what they were getting ready for their next match. Or,
right.
something logical.
Yeah.
But yeah, just more logic. Logic's good.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Jericho sort of finds a place to be now, because I don't know what, without him being in the title hunt for anything.
I feel like
he has a very vague presence on the show too.
I think he's in a good spot right now, just having fun with MJF, and I think with good reason they'll probably ride that out for at least a few weeks, maybe a month or two more, until I think at some point MJF is going to convince Inner Circle to turn on Jericho, and he's going to become the new leader, which will kind of set him up as the prime top heel in AEW, and they could have a good feud, and then Jericho could have a babyface run for a little bit, and then probably do that until maybe he retires, and then he for sure is going to be on commentary as soon as he retires, because he's so good at commentary.
I hope they can work Jericho and Hager into the tag division legitly.
That would be a good way
and
to
give him a title shot.
Give him a little bit more longevity in his final years. Yeah. I think.
And it'll make all the other tag divisions look better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
To get some wins on Jericho.
Give a great rub to some guys. Yeah, for sure.
Luchasaurus kind of disappeared.
Yeah, I'm not super upset about that. I mean, there was a time where they were on the show every fucking most of the time they were opening probably half those times they opened the show with some like big multi-person match that didn't mean anything and just gave them a chance to kind of like do all their... Maybe that's why the show's been good, because there's no Jurassic Express for the last however many weeks.
There's no Marcos taking up time.
Everybody loves Jurassic Express. Especially Luchasaurus, to me, like, it feels like every match that he works in, he just takes a hot tag and comes in and does his, like, 5 moves that he does. His 5 moves of doom. And he does them slow. Like, everything he does is so slow. But he's a huge lumbering guy, which makes sense. But, like, it doesn't really look that good. And, like, it's just kind of... It's a hype thing. And, you know, people love it. So who am I to say that people are wrong? But
they had... Didn't they have the Luchasaurus Wardlow match? Earlier in the year, or they had like a tease to it.
I don't remember.
I think they had an altercation.
But that's the thing. Like, have you ever seen Luchasaurus do like a singles match? Because like he doesn't have. I guess he must not have.
No,
much
it was
else
in a tag match.
Repertoire.
It was in a tag match.
So, but that's the thing, though. Like, you know, to have him, you know. You couldn't really put him in a singles match because, like, the only thing he really does is the hot tag and his, 5 moves of doom. So, yeah, I'm not a huge Luchasaurus fan, but I know he's very popular. I loved him in Lucha Underground, where he got that name, where they like named him that. They chanted it at him, but yeah, he just didn't. He was protected, I guess.
They should do a storyline where somebody psychologically breaks him down. That's another thing. Like, if they did any kind of stories with Luchasaurus, I would probably be into it. Like, I love the fucking Reptile Tribe in Lucha Underground. If they had a whole story where like Luchasaurus was like a real-life dinosaur that evolved into a human being the way they did with Drago, like, I'd be super into that. But no, he's just a big dinosaur dude who talks about dinosaur rights now because of that one joke that person made. Yeah. And on that note...
Yeah, right. We should end, like, on a positive note that, like, overall, I've really, really been enjoying... Like, the last month or two... I've really felt like the quality of Dynamite has markedly increased, and I've gotten to a point where I'm really looking forward to it every week. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with this storyline or that storyline. And that's something that I haven't really felt about a wrestling show in a while, since Lucha Underground, I guess, and that was short-lived. Because I never really saw it live until, like, Season 3, and Season 4 just was not good. It was so underfunded that it was just not good. So, it's exciting.
Good stuff. I have been Steven.
And also, non-binary champion D-Rock. In the house.
And remember, kids, you can tweet us at Wundacast. You can download us, leave us a positive review, tell your friends, spread the word.
And I am always running the at Wundacast Twitter into the ground, as it were.
Join our inner circle. Come sing with us.
Join our Dark Order.
Sip the Kool-Aid.
No, don't do that. That's
If you don't have blood sugar restrictions.
or poison restrictions.
And remember that, like John Moxley, coronavirus could come at you from any direction, at any time, from any broom closet, in any facility, next to any fence.
It's true.
Hail Wunda.
Hey, Wunda.
Wundercast? Give it up for Wundercast, man. What an adorable name.
You're listening to the Wundacast.
What's up, everybody? This is Jason David Frank, Green Ranger. You're listening to Wundacast.
Subscribe to the Wundacast.